Hello and welcome to Recovery for Life. I'm Chris Howard, your counselor at Midtown Health Wellness in New York City, and host of this weekly podcast where we discuss addiction and recovery and anything else that comes to mind. Pure, of course, meaning equal, meaning we're all on a level playing field, which means I'm in recovery myself. As of this past January, I've got 10 years clean and sober. I should note that it took me 18 years to get here. Relapse isn't required, but certainly isn't uncommon. That may sound like a reasonable amount of time in recovery, but the truth is, today is all that matters. Every single day, we make a decision to remain sober. Before we get going, it's important to mention that I am not a doctor, and we are not here to dispense medical advice. We don't advocate any particular course of treatment either. Please speak with your physician regarding issues related to your specific medication or treatment plan. If you don't have a program and would like to discuss options, you can find Midtown Health and Wellness at nyc-doctor.com. The series of podcasts is essentially our group discussions on tape. The three others joining me today are all part of the Suboxone program at Midtown Health. So one of our recurring topics will be everyone's personal feelings about medication-assisted recovery. The focus will not be so much on our past, our addictions, but how we're navigating our individual paths towards physical and emotional health. Putting down the substance is the first step. What happens next is recovery. In recent episodes, we've been introducing ourselves, with each program focusing on one person's journey through addiction into recovery. Tonight, Frankie will take the floor. But first, I'm going to virtually pass the mic and give everyone a few minutes to check in. And I'm going to note that we are short a couple of people tonight. Benny's stuck in traffic right now, and John is on his honeymoon this week. So we're going to see him, I think, back next week. And congratulations. And it's really exciting that he got married yesterday. It's pretty cool. So let's go around and say hello. Audrey, you want to say hi?
Sure. Hey, Audrey here. Check again. Let's see. I have been doing fine. Pretty good, actually. The only thing that I've been dealing with lately is I guess the biggest thing is trying to figure out how to quit vaping. That's like the last addiction that I have on my list. And it's interesting because, I know it's terrible, and I don't know, it's like it's an addiction. So obviously I can relate it to being addicted to opioids, but it's one of those addictions that is not as frowned down upon by society. It is, but not as much as doing drugs. So it's more readily available. So it's something that I'll use to distract myself or make myself feel better physically, or I feel like I need to do something with my hands, and I'm just chasing that high feeling, I guess, or a rush or just a soothing feeling. And I need to find other ways to cope with those feelings than just inhaling something. So, I could inhale air. That usually helps. Deep breathing exercises. But yeah, I'm doing pretty well. I'm planning on making a big dinner tonight because I'm just home and I have nothing else really to do. So I'm going to take a stab at cooking for myself. We'll see how that goes.
That's great. Thanks. Amy, how about you? What's going on?
I've had a good week. I understand Audrey's dilemma there because I never went to vaping. I just smoked cigarettes. I mean, I tried the vaping. It wasn't for me. And so I don't know. I'm trying to cut back, but I just enjoy doing it. So it's hard when you don't really want to quit. So that's where I'm at with that. And I was on another podcast like we were talking about. So I got invited on another podcast. So that was cool. And just dealing with my husband and all that comes with that. The not understanding anything about me. I hope one day he will, but anyway, it is what it is on that front. So yeah, that's my week.
Thanks, Amy. I I'd be good. The smoking thing, I quit smoking 22 years ago now, And that was the first thing I quit. And it was hard. It was really hard. It took me 3 swipes at it. And I had to get the patch. And I remember I was telling Audrey the other day, at one point I had the patch on and I was still smoking anyway, because I wasn't ready to quit. I mean, I just didn't want to. And then it had to get to that place, like everything that we do, right? I had to really want it. And then I was able to do it. I still had to, I still went through hell. I had to do the patch and everything else. And of course I gained 35 pounds a year after I quit, because my that transferred to eating for me. And I was still drinking a quart of vodka every day. So that didn't help. But hey, listen, one thing at a time, right? I managed to give that up and I haven't looked back. So it took a while to tackle anything else. But other than that, pretty good week. Business as usual. And I'm going to go ahead and pass it to Frankie, who's going to tell us a little bit about himself today for as long as he likes, as long as this takes, and then we'll take it from there. So, Frankie, you are on.
Okay. Hi, y'all. I'm Frankie. I was thinking a lot about this and how to tell my story. And I was just talking about this with Chris, it's like 20 years of like insanity. I'd much prefer to tell you about the 5 to 6 years of incredible success. But in order to get there, you have to hear this. And it's very, very fuzzy, but I remember it in pockets of life events and relationships. And I'll just spit it out. So I come from a very supportive, middle class family, like, middle, lower, upper, lower kind of, very supportive Long Island family. Both of my parents worked, a lot, and I have a younger brother, very supportive. There was never anything that we wanted that we didn't get. We always got everything we wanted. I was very active when I was a kid and still now, but when I was a kid in the theater, I was always doing some sort of arts, whether it be singing or dancing or, I remember, junior high school and in high school, I remember going to rehearsal for the show at school and then getting in a car and then going to rehearsal for another show where I was doing something else at like a community theater. In high school, drugs were experimental for me. It was just the crowd that I hung out with. It was just, it just wasn't a habit. It was just experimental. Let's all get a bag of pot today. Oh, yay. Let's all throw in $5. This is cool. We'll all try weed, and like, it was never a must, but it was always a part of my life when I was younger. I tried hallucinogenics a lot when I was younger, and that ran its course on me for a couple of years. And I remember getting out of high school, and I remember my first arrest. And this was at a time where we were just trying whatever we can get. Oh, we can get this, and oh, we can get that. Oh, you guys can get heroin? What the fuck? Like, oh, let's try heroin. Like it was something cool. I remember getting a bag of heroin, and me and 2 of my buddies got it, and we took it out, and we were like, what the fuck? Oh, we got robbed. This little tiny thing? What is this? Cut it up into 3 little tiny things, and it sucks. And I remember doing this little tiny, whatever it was, little line of it. And I remember falling asleep. Everyone else got sick and threw up. And I was like, oh, I'm never doing this again. This is terrible. Never doing this again. Threw the rest of the dope into a cigarette carton because I was smoking cigarettes at the time. Threw it into my glove compartment in my disgusting, dirty car that I used to drive, my disgusting 77 Chevy Nova, and forgot about it. And I remember picking up my girlfriend at the time and then picking up my pot guy. And he was like, hey, can you drive me to, I don't know, my cousin's house? Yeah, fine. So we're driving through town and woo, the lights go on. And I, feeling very confident about my ability to talk my way out of anything at this point, cops pull over and I'm in full Frankie mode. Hey, how you doing, officer? Good evening. How you doing? Oh, I saw you brought your friends with you, Mr. Officer, this guy and Dr. Smith. And oh, I'm sure you know this one and that one and this. Oh, sure, no problem. I'll get out of the car. Yada yada yada. And as I'm putting on my full-on act, I think the coast is clear. I'll never forget. I hear, oh, here we go. And his partner is in the glove compartment. And he's like, oh, what's this? It's like, fuck. So here come very honest tears of collapse. And my life is over. My life is ended. I am going to prison. I don't know any better. That's it. It's done. I'm going to prison for the rest of my life. I'm 96 pounds. I'm dead. It's over. So whatever they found in the trunk and bags, and I don't know, I think I had pot on me and I think I had some Valium or something. They took me to the precinct where they had me chained. I'm 18 years old and I am maybe 100 pounds soaking wet. I'm 5'3". I am a tiny, tiny, tiny little boy. I am a fucking little boy. And I am chained to this desk and they're talking to me like I am a kingpin. And I don't know what to say to you. I don't know where I buy weed in high school. Like I get my drugs from high school. Like there was nothing I can give these guys, but they treated me so horribly. I remember finally getting a phone call and I had always called home no matter what, even if I was going to be late. I'd always called home. At that time, we had beepers and I had always called home and I had not called home. And when the phone rang, my mom picked it up on one ring and I couldn't even get out. I'm at the precinct, but I mean, I was just a mess. I got out of there. I collapsed. I was like, I am never going to do this again. I'm so sorry I put everyone through this. I feel terrible. I have so much shame. Obviously, the girl that I was with at the time, her parents would never let me see her again. My parents would never, everyone thought it was everybody else's fault. We were just kids being stupid. I probably spent a good 3 or 4 years not doing anything, not drinking, not smoking. At the time this was not a time in my life when I knew anything about the program. I understood anything about the program, or I thought that maybe I needed it. I was a stupid kid making stupid mistakes. Totally clean. My life starts to go on an uptick again. I start to work as an actor. I start to get a national tour here or there. My band starts to become very, very popular, released a CD or two. People start to come see our band. We start to get interest from labels. Everything is going perfectly fine. And that's when the rock and roll industry introduced me to cocaine. I had a love affair with that drug probably for about 6 or 7 years until it didn't like me anymore. I was the dead giveaway. When I would do cocaine, I was the one person sweating and like jawing and like red in the face, in and out of the bathroom every 30 seconds. Everyone knew what I was doing. I was a dead giveaway. And then it wasn't fun anymore. At first it was fun. Now it became a drug where I needed to hide out in the house and do it by myself. And, until it was gone, and sleeping all day, up all night, just gross. Gross. And I decided I'm done with this. Just like that. I'm done with this. I'm not going to do this anymore. Just like that. And it was fine. And a couple of years went by. And I was in restaurant management and kind of waiting tables here and there. And I had come home off another acting job for a girl. I had come home. She wanted me to stop going out on the road. I'd come home for a girl. Lovely young lady. She had no idea what she was getting herself into. And I remember the first time I was introduced to a pill. There was a waiter who was working in this restaurant, and it was such an insane moment. I feel like he's like the devil. He was such a perfectly put together, chiseled human being. He was like, it was, I never saw this guy. I met him for 3 weeks and never saw him again after he introduced me to drugs. It was very, very, very bizarre. He was literally, this guy was the devil. He said, "Hey man, you want to try some Oxycontin?" I was like, "Yeah, what's that?" He was like, "Oh, it's like dope, but it's a pill." And I was like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, what do you need? $5? He's like, "No, I need 50. I was like, "You need what?" He's like, "Yeah, no, we're going to get 2 of them. I need $50. I was like, "For a pill?" I was like, "Oh, this fuck, I don't know what's going on with inflation, these things and drugs, man." I remember when I was, all right, you want $50? I give you $50. So I gave the guy the money. He was like, "Hey, go into the bathroom. It's on the toilet, on the top of the toilet. It's great. The places that we do drugs, disgusting." So I was like, all right, I do this little thing. So I do this little thing. I woke up 45 minutes later next to the toilet, like, oh my God, I fell asleep on the toilet. Oh my shit, my tables. Oh my God, nobody got their steaks. Yes. So I loved this apparently. So I was like, let me get a couple more of those. Let me do a few more of those. Like, this is great. You know what? I'll get them in a 10-pack. That's great. That way I won't have to worry about it during the week. I remember not having any, waking up in the morning next to this girl, sweating, shaking, and like shitting everywhere. And I was like, oh my God, I have the flu. I'm dying. I have the flu. I can't go out. I can't do anything. I remember calling my buddy and going, "Hey, I think I can't get out of the house today. I can't give you the money that I owe you. I have the flu." He's like, "You don't have the flu." He's like, "You're kicking." I was like, what does that mean? What do you mean I'm kicking? He's like, you're kicking. You need, I'll be right there. And I remember him bringing me over an Oxy, and within 2 minutes, I felt completely fine. And I was like, oh shit, I'm a drug addict. And it was the first time, like, I said it in my head. Probably be the last time I said that in my head for the next like 5 or 6 years. But I was like, I'm a fucking drug addict. And there was nothing I was going to do about it. So I went on in that cycle of get paid, get my drugs, go to work for 60 hours a week, get paid, get my drugs, go to work for 60 hours a week. Where does all the money go? I did that for a couple years, and I couldn't explain to my girlfriend at the time why I had no money. And I couldn't tell her that I was using drugs, but I couldn't explain why I had no money. Now, at the time, I'm still in the theater, and now I'm going to do these shows, and I'm going on stage and I'm performing, and I'm going into the bathroom and I'm doing shit. And then I'm having like my drug dealer drop off pills in my car so that at intermission, I won't get sick. And now I'm starting to borrow money from people because I'm running out. So like I'm asking cast members for money, and now people are starting to talk. Now it's a conversation. Yo, Frankie's a crackhead, blah, blah, blah. Nobody knows what I'm doing, but obviously there's something wrong. And I just put on my, and I just put on my face like nothing is wrong and go about business. You guys are crazy. Like gaslighting the entire world. telling them that they're crazy. And I'm not. It all started to come to a head when we were going to get engaged. And we had this big sort of like engagement party. And I took all the cash from the engagement fund to buy pills, and I left all the checks in there. And like I slowly depleted it until it was gone. And I remember getting a call. So where's all the money? I was like, oh, I had to pay. Somebody wanted the money from the party or for the trays of food. I had to pay them. And it was this time she was getting wise to it. You know what I mean? She was getting wise. She was a lovely young lady. And she was wise to it. We were living at my parents' house at the time. And she was getting very close to my parents. And I was never around because I was, snorting pills. And we separated. What shall I rephrase? She left me. And I was very beat up about it. I was really upset. I knew it was my fault. But that wasn't going to stop me from doing drugs. So I was single, very beat up about it. In my life, and it's just the way I always was. I felt better in this situation. The way I got over was to get under. Does anyone get that? So I made myself feel better with somebody else. Like I just needed somebody else in my life, no matter what. Even if I was going to take them down with me, the way I was getting over it was to get under somebody else. So I started dating again, people who had no idea what my issue was. And I began to either suck them dry or bring them into my anarchy. I had brought a young lady who was 10 years younger than me into this craziness. She was troubled herself, but not in this way. And within a month, she was deep in the addiction as well as I was. This time I started to steal too. I started to steal things and pawn things and find things that I knew weren't mine to make sure made it into my trunk so I can pawn it. As that started to spiral out of control, I was hitting, for me, or what I thought was the time, a total rock bottom. And I remember calling my parents upstairs one day because I lived above them. And I was like, I want to tell you guys something. And they're like, what's up? And I was like, I'm a drug addict. And I'm addicted to pills. And my mom was like, oh, I knew something was wrong. I just didn't know what it was. And I felt so bad because I had taken so much from them already, and all the bullshit lies and all the schemes and the stories and however I can get money from them and all the bullshit. And I felt so guilty, but I knew I needed help. So I was like, I need to go. I need to go somewhere. And my mom was like, all right, so our friend, has experience with this. He went to this detox. You should go to a detox. We can see if we can get you a bed. And I was like, okay, all right, let's get me a bed. So I went to my first detox, and it was eye-opening in so many ways for me, because at my first detox, I was so into it. I was so committed. I was so interested in hearing people's stories. I was like, oh my God, this can be done. I don't need to do this. I listen to these people. All the while I'm on methadone and I'm coming off the pills. And I'm like, I can do this. And I want to do this. I want to speak. I want to be this guy. I want to tell my story. My story has, it has sadness and comedy, and I can save somebody's life. I want to do this. And on the other side of these 7 days was an education into how to be a better junkie. So I was in there trying to get my mind straight, but getting an education on how to be a better drug addict. And I had a choice which way I wanted to go there. And like, I had a choice what I wanted to listen to. And I didn't take the high road. I got out of that detox with my first like knowledge of the program and my first touch on the blue book and how I can use these tools to be sober. And I started to go to meetings twice a week. I would have my dad drive me and he would wait in the parking lot and I would come back out, and I was really trying to get it together. And I was preaching it, and all my friends were like, you look so good. And you know, cause all my friends knew, so now I'm okay saying it. Cause now I feel like, oh my God, I have 60 days of clean time under my belt. I am a well-spoken sober wizard, and I know everything about sobriety. And, I want to tell the world about it. Probably 4 months into that run, I was like, you know what I can do some pills. It's not a big deal. I can do a couple pills, because if the next day, if I don't do pills, that'll be fine. And then it was, you know what, I can do it these 2 days. And as long as I don't do third day, it'll be fine. And then one of my buddies who was selling me pills was like, cause I was running low on cash again. I was like running low on cash. He's like, well, I can get dope if you want to just do heroin. I was like, what's that going to cost me? And he was like, well, I'll give you this much for this much. It's like, wait a second. So I can get all these drugs for what? Hold on a second. What? So I immediately graduated to heroin because it was financially easier for me to get high. This was at a time when on Long Island, when the pill craze was at its highest, and you were, everyone had Oxycontin or oxycodone, or it was just very easy to get. Everybody had them because Long Island was the epicenter for it. I ran out of money, and I, just like a lot of people on Long Island at this time, graduated to heroin, because at the time when people were paying $50 a pill, you can get a bundle of heroin for almost the same price. And almost everyone on Long Island graduated into this disgusting thing. I checked myself into my second detox. That was my decision. I checked myself into my second detox. I'm going to take another shot at this. A month later, I was off the wagon again, and I didn't know what to do. I was in the restaurant business, but I was just waiting tables. I had been fired then from that job, so I started washing dishes, and I was washing dishes. Now I had been in a high profile management job at one time. Now I'm washing dishes. I'm washing dishes just to get cash so I can get drugs. So I can wake up in the morning. It was really, really dark. I thought to myself, if I can get off Long Island, I can stop this. So I met a girl. She was like, you want to move to Queens? It's like, absolutely. I moved to Queens, and that didn't help. I gave my drug dealer my unemployment card, so that every Tuesday when my unemployment went through, he would then drive out and drop off my drugs. They would be gone the next day, and then I'd be scrambling, looking for change, and running every scam I could to try and put together $20. I remember putting on a FedEx jacket and walking around apartment buildings like we worked for FedEx, and like would steal shit and then sell it. And it was really, really, really dark. I checked into my third detox, thinking that this is the last time that I'm gonna do it. Wasn't. I started doing a lot of heroin. I was probably doing a bundle a day at the time of my second arrest. They tell you don't speak on the phone. You don't take it seriously until you see a stack of pages this big with all the things that you've said on the phone. I remember working a job around this time, and I was outside trying to put a restaurant together, and somebody comes over and goes, "Frankie Gabriel." And they go, "Oh, yeah, he's right there." I put my hand out to shake a hand, and I'm slammed down on the floor. And I'm looking around, and everyone's like, and I think it's a joke. And I'm in cuffs again, and stacks of pages of me talking on the phone. And now I'm in a conspiracy charge with 7 or 8 other people, and I'm in the wrong place at the wrong time. All these things of me leading my double life have now smashed and literally collapsed around me. I'm working, I'm doing shows, I have all these things going on, but my main job was, how do I get drugs during the day? And the cops were listening to me do it because the people that I was talking to were very high up. And I was using my charisma to get drugs and talk people into giving me free shit. And if I would bring this over here to there, they would give me this. And if I brought this to here, they would give me this. I'll get free drugs. Now I'm in a conspiracy charge. I do some inpatient. I do some outpatient. I'm sober due to consequence, because if I don't, I'll go to jail. I got through those 2 years, and I started working another job in the city, where one of the cooks had heroin, and I went down the same exact cycle that I've done several times before. I'll just do 1. I'll take tomorrow off. I'll just do 2. I was living with somebody at the time. They knew about my past. They would start to see stuff missing. We had this thing we keep in the fridge with cash, and she'd come home and we were going to do something. All of a sudden, money was missing. Then when I started smoking heroin, like, that was always a dead giveaway, because you can't just go in the bathroom and snort a line. Like, I'd have to peel the tinfoil off and tiptoe, and you hear the lighter in the bathroom. And I did this for 3 years. Now, in this 3 years, I never had any money. I never had a fucking dollar to my name. I was never on time with my rent. All my bills were always behind. I was always a month and a half behind. I was always running a scam on why I couldn't pay my rent. I didn't have any furniture in my apartment because we couldn't afford furniture. The mattress that we slept on, we found on the street. We had no money, and any money that we had immediately went to heroin. It was at this time that we decided, she's going to leave. She's going to leave. We're not breaking up. She's leaving me. Same thing. It's the exact same thing. She's going to leave me. I have this high profile job with a celebrity chef, and now I have nobody in the house. Now it's just me. Now I don't have to hide anything from anybody. And I'm at my lowest of lows. I was highly paid at the time, so I was able to support a very, very, very deep heroin habit. And again, I'm sure everyone I worked with knew, because I mean, it wasn't a secret. You know, I walk into the kitchen, rip off a whole bunch of tinfoil and walk into the bathroom and then come out. But I looked like shit. I mean, I was scabby. I was skinny. I was disappearing from the restaurant for hours at a time to go uptown to get dope, to come back to like I was a dead giveaway, but there was nobody there to stop me. So I was at my absolute ultimate low. I owed money to all my drug dealers. I think I was way backed up because I always had several that if I maxed out my tab with one, I would have another that I can max out my credit with until I can pay everybody back. The last person that would get paid, obviously, was the cable company, my phone bill, or my rent. Last things to get paid, as long as I had dope. I had come to the end of my rope. Parents didn't trust me. My friends didn't rely on me. I was going to try and I had my head wrapped around tonight's going to be my last night, and I'm okay if I don't wake up tomorrow. And I remember getting about 30 bags of heroin, and I was doing them in five a clip and just going. And I can feel my body. I could feel my body rejecting it. Like I can feel my body going, stop. Like I can feel my chest. I can feel my heart. I can feel my brain. And something was like coming to me from out of this world saying, do not do any more shit. And I did about 28 to 29 bags of heroin that day. And I was like, I'm good for the day, but I'm also good if I don't wake up. And I remember opening my eyes and feeling sick, but not because I didn't have drugs, just because of what I was doing to myself and who I thought I was going to be and who I thought I could be and who I wanted to be. And all that I thought was gone because of what I had done to myself. I looked in the mirror and I smiled and just like a craziness. And I looked at my black rotted teeth. And I was like, I cannot do this to myself anymore. And I started to research what the fuck to do. And I was like, Suboxone. I cannot cold turkey this because that has not worked at all. Every time I've done method, gone to a clinic and then gotten off and done the methadone and come out, it has not worked for me. I cannot do it. I need help. And I remember calling Dr. S's office and talking to her briefly and then going in the next day. And she was like, you can't use before you come here. I was like, oh yeah, no problem. Sure. Of course I'm not gonna. I did what I needed to do. And then when I got there, she wouldn't give me any Suboxone because she was like, you're high. I was like, no, I'm not. I was like, yes, you are. It was like me trying to work an angle on somebody, but she knew my angle. So I laid in the room until I sweated. And then I found my dosage. That day was the last day I used heroin. That was almost 5 years ago. That day, it just clicked. I don't know why, but I can explain it to you like this. It was like when you have a broken heart and somebody has broke your heart and you feel like you can never recover from this ever. And you feel like there'll never be anyone else that will love you like that or that will make you feel that way. And then you wake up one morning and you can breathe again. And you're like, oh, I'm okay. That's how it was with me with heroin. I woke up one day and I was done and I could breathe. And I got to tell you, my first 9 months off drugs were dreadful. I was constantly depressed. I was absolutely miserable. I was inconsolable. I went away to Florida to see my parents. I was crying the whole time. I was so horrible. I was like, I am never going to be able to repair the damage that I have done to myself, to my family, to my friends, and all these relationships over the last 10 to 15 years. And over the last 20, 30 minutes, I have left out fucking war stories because they're not relevant. They're not. What's relevant is that the other side of this is possible. And slowly but surely, my life started to put its pieces back together. And it started to reshape itself in a way that I never knew it could be. I never knew my life could be simple and easy. And I never knew I could be happy without drugs until they were gone. And it started to reshape itself from job to job to job over the last few years. I have begun to make significantly more money. In the last couple of years, I began to travel, whether it be Italy or wherever all things I never did. And in this, giving up this terrible love for drugs, I found the love of my life. And she came to me once I was ready to accept this. I was ready to accept a normal life. Everything normal came to me. And, I would never have a wife and my family if I was still using. I would never have any of these things. It took my parents so long to trust me again. Every time that I went to the bathroom, they were like, hey, where's he going? Or like, my mom's not following me to like sniff me, to like smell me, like I smell like drink. It started to go away. And I'll never go back down that road, because I know where that road ends. I know where that road ends. And what's fucking awesome, I don't know where this road leads, but I'm so excited to see it. If I go down that path of heroin and abuse and all that, I know how that ends. And this is just such an open book. And I'm so happy to be alive and able to write this. Now, I left out a lot of shit, but it was hard to put that all together in words in a half hour. I left out a lot of shit, but I think I tackled most of it. Yes, I tackled most of it. Most importantly, I'm here, I'm healthy, and I can tell you the story. So that's what's important.
Thank you. That was beautifully told. It really was. And you touched on everything. The things that you missed, don't worry, they'll come up in future podcasts
I'm sure.
as other things go through. But I it was such a perfect description of, and I went through this too. Of this time's going to be different. I can control it this time, right? I know I can do it. I've been good for 6 months, a year, whatever it is, 2 years. And I know I can handle it this time. And it's always the same, right? It's always the same, and it's always the same. And that's, I think, when the thing that actually got me sober in the end was just that I knew it was going to be the same again. It was going to be the same day as yesterday. And I couldn't live those days anymore. And that's exactly what you were talking. I mean, it's just what you described so beautifully.
Like the monotony of like getting up, making that phone call, like waiting to get those drugs so I can go to work. And if I don't, scrambling and fighting with somebody on the phone to meet me uptown because I had to be here. It was a whole nother job before I had to go work this other 60-hour-a-week job. It was fucking terrible. It was working 2 jobs, and one of them is a full-time drug addict. It is not sustainable.
No, it is a full-time job. Being an addict is an absolute full-time job. And, the one other thing that really hit me when you were talking was, and I've experienced all very, very similar things to you. I think that we probably all have at some level, but, that moment when you look in the mirror and you just go, who is that? What is that? What is that I'm looking at? And, I did that so many times. I stopped looking in the mirror. I couldn't even look anymore. I couldn't look at myself.
No, it's just so terrible to have so much promise and for so many people to be like, oh, you're going to be able to do whatever you want with this career. Or, when you're the best at this, you're going to be able to do whatever you want. And then instead of going and, taking what my dreams and like taking what everyone said will be very easy for me to take, I decided to do drugs instead. And it's just, I just never thought that like I would be that person. I just never thought I would be that guy. I remember being like 15 years old and like beating someone up for smoking pot, and 20 years later, I'm like ready to beat someone up for not giving me my shit. It was really weird to look at myself and think that everything was gone. And it's nice that it's not. No.
Yeah. Can't tell you how much I appreciate your honesty in that story, man. Really incredible. And so familiar too, at the same time. You ladies want to chime in, relate? Give your...
Yeah, I was going to say, just on the topic of like what you said, Frankie, about never thinking that you would be this person. Like I related to what you said about beating someone up because they smoked weed. I remember my ex-boyfriend smoked weed in high school and I was so pissed. I was like crying, like, what the fuck, you do drugs? Like, that's disgusting. And then after high school, I started doing drugs and it's like, it took all of my dreams away too. It became, that was my quote unquote passion at the time, was doing drugs. And it just got to the point where it took over my life and I couldn't follow my actual dreams. So, I mean, it's so powerful. I think also I can relate to like doing drugs recreationally at first and not realizing their power that they can have over you. I mean, we say the word addiction, but I think many people probably don't understand the like real addiction. It's like you feel like you need something as much as you need water. It's like if you don't have it, you feel like you're gonna die and like you're sick. And but yeah, I really liked hearing your story, and obviously, I don't know, I just think you're a really cool person, and I don't want to be like, I'm proud of you, but like it's like inspiring. It's very inspirational to know that you've been through a lot, and I can look up to you.
You said that like the drugs become a passion and take away your other passion. That really resonates. Like that really, I get that. Like that's what it was. Like they took away my other passions and aspirations because drugs became my passion. That's all I wanted to do. And it's hard to describe dope sick to anyone who hasn't been dope sick, or it's hard to describe like wanting and needing this to someone who hasn't had this feeling. But that's what it's like. You're dead on accurate. Like, it's like water. Like, if you don't get it, you feel like you're going to die. And you will do anything that you can to get a sip. And that's really poignant.
The other thing you said too, Audrey, was also extremely poignant, is that it took all of your dreams away. And I think I don't know anybody who can't relate to that, who's been in this situation. And it just does. It robs us of our lives, of our dreams, of our hopes, of anything that has promise. And you're so right. I mean, it really is. It's just, it's amazing. And I agree. You can say that you're proud of Frankie, because we should be. We should all be proud of ourselves, for being in the place that we are and getting through this and being, like Frankie said, on the other side, because we're all on the other side now, and we get to talk about it, and we get to relate to each other, and we get to understand where we've been and what it's like. That's the whole point of all of this, right? Go ahead, Amy, you're up.
I just want to say I could relate to every bit of that. And about the dreams, it took away more than dreams. And I know a lot you left out, but I could just, I don't know. It was just so similar. It's like Chris said, we can all just relate. And I'm so proud of you and the man you've become. And you're just a wonderful, you're just loving, caring, just a good human. And I'm so happy and grateful that you're on this side of it. I just am. And I loved your story.
Oh.
No, I didn't love it like, but it just resonated with me because, it steals everything from you.
But it doesn't, and it also doesn't discriminate.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't discriminate. Like, all four of us here are such different people, and the same thing got us. So, like, it does not discriminate. It could take anyone, anywhere, anytime.
Absolutely.
So important, I think, for everyone to know is that nobody is above this. If you're not, if you're not careful.
Mm-hmm. You got lawyers, judges. I mean,
This will get you.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a death sentence if you don't. It's not just recreational anymore. It's a death sentence.
I have all these notes and they make no sense. I always went to work. I washed dishes. First unemployment. Apartment never paid on time. Arrest. Cats. Spiral. Universal spirit. I don't know what any of this means.
Like a slam poem.
Right?
Mean.
I don't know. I think the only thing you left out was the cats somehow.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know where the cats were and all of
I
this.
don't know.
But the rest of it, I think was kind of there. I think a lot of that, and I actually all of that stuff I can relate to, and I will when it gets to be my turn. You'll hear all about that too, because I was in all of those places too. We've talked about, times when I was a year behind in the rent and talking my way out of it still. And still with the mouth going, yeah, don't worry. I got this. Don't worry.
I got it. I have a check coming in from this guy.
Right.
Yeah. I have a gift for Gab, and I really used it to my advantage as much as I could until that gift was no longer worth anything because nobody believed a word that came out of my mouth.
Right. Yeah. The other thing you brought up towards the end was regaining trust. And that's a tough one. That takes time. That takes a long time. And that takes us just being that person that we need to be, that we want to be, that we're aspiring to be, and letting others see it. Just let them see it. We can't tell them, can we? You can't say, hey, I'm better. I'm okay. Right. We have to demonstrate that every single day of our lives. And, that's what the recovery part's all about. It's just becoming that person that we want to be. And that's a lifelong process. And we just keep getting better. We keep becoming better people. And the trust does come back. It
I
really
think when you're
does.
I think when you're telling people that you're better and you're saying that you're okay, you're usually not.
Yeah, I agree.
You're usually not. And people see that you're better, and people start to realize that you're better when you are, because
Right.
it'll happen or
It shows. It shows.
It shows. And you don't need to tell anybody, because everything around you will have changed so much that the reality will be is you're better.
Yeah.
Your reality will change around you. You will be better, and people will see, and you won't have to tell anybody that you are. God knows if you are, you're not.
Right. Yeah. And even, the things, if nothing around us changes, our perception of it certainly does. And we have a much better view of our lives than we did when we were in those addictions and and it looked completely dark. And it doesn't look that way anymore. It just doesn't. And that's us changing. That's us growing. And that's us becoming better people and seeing the world as a very, very different place. So, wow, that was, man, what an hour. Holy mackerel.
Did I really talk for an hour?
No, you talked for about 35 minutes. We've been talking since then. So yeah, this is perfect.
I was afraid I was going to ramble.
No, you were, oh man, you were so concise. So
Right.
that was,
it was great.
absolute precision. Absolute
Really?
precision.
No rambling.
No
Yep.
rambling at all. It was
Thank y'all.
beautifully told.
It was awesome.
And this is a perfect time for some gratitude, I think, before we
Yes.
today, because man, what an hour. Who wants to go first for a little gratitude? Volunteers?
I will.
Go for it.
I'm just grateful. We're all here, even after all of our story and all of our junk. Seems like another lifetime, but I'm just grateful we're here. We're all together. We're telling our stories. We're letting people know and out there that we can recover. We can. People can change. And I'm grateful for y'all today. I really am.
Thanks, Amy. How about Audrey?
Yeah, I'm pretty much gonna say what Amy said, but in a different way. TTQA, turn the question around. No, that's not it. Anyway, I am very grateful for you, Frankie, for telling your story, and grateful that although it's not all positive things, I can learn something from what you're saying, and it's a reminder of what's important, that we're here and sober, and even though we've been through these things, it's important to remember what happened and appreciate what we have now. So I appreciate everyone here too. And yeah.
Thanks, Audrey. Frankie, you get to throw a little out there too.
All right. I am grateful for all of you, as always, for listening and for being so supportive. I'm grateful for my family, and as always, my incredibly understanding wife. I'm usually good for a joke at the end of these, but my soul is sucked dry on this one, so I'm gonna end it on a simple: I am grateful for you all, and I am grateful for my sobriety.
We need a snow cone.
Okay.
I think I need a snuggle or a snow cone. was that one of my closeouts? Yes. Okay.
I got to say, I am so grateful for, certainly the three of you tonight, the two absentees who aren't here tonight, but will probably be back next week. And I don't know. I don't know how to express the gratitude I have for you being in my life. The people that I'm sitting here with right now. It's a gift. You're a gift, all of you. I don't even remember how all of this came about. But here we are. And this is a little miracle that happens every week when we get together and we get to talk to each other about these things. And I get to grow every time, and I get to learn from all of you. And there's so much beauty that comes from you guys. It's kind of amazing. It really is. Gushing a little bit, and but I feel like I need to, because I really do have that much appreciation for all of you. I really do. And so I almost forgot I'm supposed to close this out. I'm like losing it.
No,
Give me a
gush
second.
away, Chris. Gush away. Tell us more about us.
Right?
I want it. So listen, I am going to do the closeout here. So, I mean, really, thank you for tonight. I mean, absolutely unbelievable. And thank you to our listeners for joining us. And if anybody has any thoughts they'd like to share about anything they heard today, please send us a note through one of the various available channels. We're on YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Music, a bunch of other platforms. So wherever you're listening, I'm sure there's a way to like or send us a little note. And we'd love to hear from you. So really, thanks again, everybody. I love you. And have a great week. See you next week.